Welcome back to the Empower Fitness and Nutrition podcast. And you're here today with me, Amy, and I have an awesome guest who has actually been on before. You just looked so shocked at me, Sinead, that you were the guest. So I'm
That's
joined by Sinead this afternoon to talk through her journey so far. We did a podcast, I want to say 2 years ago.
was it? I think it might have been a
Oh,
year
maybe a
ago.
year and a half. It was before I left London anyway. I remember that much. Maybe in the process of moving, and I've been away for a year and a half now, which is mental.
It was in a
Um,
toilet.
Changing room. But yes, basically in the loo. No one came in for a pee whilst we did it. What a start to the podcast, you know?
Sorry.
Um, so yeah, we're going to look at your journey, kind of a quick touch on where you started, but then looking at kind of how that has evolved and changed, how your energy, your confidence, your strength, kind of, I think the big thing is that ability to tune into the voices and the narrative inside of actually what works for you, I think has been such a big thing, kind of pushing away all of the shoulds and actually tuning into, no, I want to sit on the sofa and I want to just bake bagels today and go and look after my veg. So you can expect lots of discussions today about vegetables, baking, and probably manicures, I think would be another
Yeah,
one
maybe.
top
Yeah.
on the list. Yeah. So thank you very much for coming on and chatting with me. I really do appreciate it. So
You're
let's
welcome.
start just kind of setting the scene where you were when we first started, kind of what did life look like then? What did things look like before we started working together?
Um, I guess we started working together, was it January 21?
That sounds
Um,
right.
yeah. So I guess in the probably in the I won't give you a full history, but I suppose in the probably the 10 years I'd started working with you, I'd moved country three times, changed career, um, moved house so many countless times. I learned that I had was high risk for breast cancer, so I was in doing lots of health screening. Um, and I guess in the process of that, I put on a ton of weight. So, but I guess maybe in the probably year and a half before I met you, I had managed to lose all the weight, not all the weight, but I'd lost about 35 kilograms
Hmm.
through restricting calories and exercising a lot. The pandemic had started and my dad had died. So I think I arrived with you probably very dysregulated, I'd say, and
Mm.
stressed. And not very well educated food wise, I'd say.
Mm.
Um, but I had started strength training and was starting to get really into it. So, yeah, I'd say life felt a bit out of control, maybe,
Yeah.
in terms of health and weight and fitness. But was kind of really interested in learning more. Probably, being honest, interested in losing more weight because that's what I was being told to
Yeah.
do. Um, so yeah, that's how you got me. Sorry about that.
It's a good place to start. And I think like when you'd started, that was part of my first or second 6 week group program. And I think it was
Yes.
like we were starting on the Monday, and at like 7 o'clock on the Sunday night, you'd messaged and we're like, "Is there a chance to still join this?" I was like, "Yeah, okay, fine." Um, and I remember you saying about kind of like weight loss being the big thing, and there were quite a few things. Kind of talk me through kind of what the biggest struggles were as we started, and these would probably, I imagine, in the space of that 6 weeks, look quite different from right before we started to
Mm.
within that point as we kind of started to pick up a couple of things like health, strength, mindset. What were the struggles?
Um, I think I mean, I had put on a huge amount of weight in the last 10 years and I'd managed to lose a significant amount of it. But then in joining the gym and then starting to strength train, weight was starting, what I was doing wasn't working basically, and weight
Mm,
was going back up again. So that was quite puzzling for me because I was also really enjoying what I
yeah,
was doing. So I was in an environment where I was beginning to really enjoy what I was doing, but it was like not, it was kind of like there was two goals clashing in a way. It was kind of like,
yeah,
oh, I'm actually enjoying being around people. But the thing I've been so focused on for like the last 2 years nearly is starting to go wrong. Um, I also, as I discovered when I started working with you, like there were things like sleep um, and stress that I maybe just, I don't know whether I'd just given up on trying to fix them, or just I'd accepted that it was okay, kind
yeah.
of, if that makes sense. Um,
Because you would always sleep with a podcast on.
yeah, usually a true crime one, which
I still don't understand how you can fall asleep to true crime.
all depends on the gentleness of the voice. Um,
Um,
yeah, so yeah, I guess I'd, particularly during the PhD, where there's you hear
the
that?
memories, the trauma.
Yeah, the memories, the trauma, the kind of, yeah. Um, I think I was just so used to just not naturally falling asleep myself.
Yeah,
So yeah, yeah,
yeah. I guess always having that kind of literally being wired, like you've got that deadline, you've got that crunch, kind of, you've got to hustle as hard as possible to get this thing done. And the
yeah,
environment that you were in the time, 'cause you did your PhD from the US, right?
yeah.
So kind of a lot of kind of more of a culture, kind of the UK certainly caught up to it a bit more now, certainly since like I was in the US 9, 10 years ago for work and remember it
Yeah.
feeling like faster paced than the UK then. And now the
Mhm.
UK is kind of it's matching. But that kind of hustle, work as hard as possible, as many hours as you can do,
Yeah,
I imagine would have been a big contributor at that point.
yeah. No, there was a real, it was a real high stress culture, and like even when I was finishing the PhD, it was like you need to apply for jobs, you need to be, doing campus visits for 2 or 3 days and be around people. And um I did my PhD in 3 years, which is really fast. And I did it in 3 years because I worked every holiday. So even when I could have technically taken, an academic break, oh, I didn't. Well, I'd work for extra money, or I'd work on extra projects. So I worked for 3 years with n- no holidays,
Yeah.
um, other than conferences. And I have learned that they are not holidays.
They're definitely not holidays. Oh my God. Even more stimulation of different people and having to be on and
Yeah,
negotiate new environments and different things.
yeah.
Honestly.
So I was just wired. I think I was just wired, and yeah, just I did not know how to switch off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So then when we got into kind of when we first started with the 6 week program and looking at, okay, this is how to fuel, this is how to sleep, kind of what does your sleep look like? What does your relaxation routine look like? Like how do you train? Like what does that kind of pattern look like? Were
yeah,
there moments that you were like, what is this? Like what's happening? Oh wait, something really does need to change here.
yeah. So, well, I suppose one of the first things was fueling around training, because I'd been so focused on losing weight. I and because of the messages you get, right? So, if I went to a doctor and said I want to lose weight, he was just like, well, it's really easy, just, eat less, train more,
Mm,
calories in, calories out. That's how it works. So I was like, okay. Um, I'd also gone to I was going to say PhD, a PT who'd like given me a very, now when I look back on it, it was a really, really restrictive, very low carb diet.
hmm
So you in the group, you started to talk about fueling around training. And it was like, I don't actually eat when I go to train. Like, I don't, no, I don't do snacks. And it was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember there being a point where you were like, I mean, my husband like gives me a banana as I leave, and then I put it in my bag, and then when I get home, I sneak it back into the fruit bowl and hope that he doesn't notice.
Like my bag was like this receptacle for rotting bananas. And yeah, so no, I didn't eat around training. And then, so then, began to try it a little bit. And I was like, all right, okay, this workout doesn't actually feel like I'm going to die. Like it's actually, it feels like I can enjoy myself
Yeah,
and I'm doing it. So yeah, that was probably the first real point was fueling around training.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And were there any points that you felt kind of nervous or hesitant when we first started?
I think I felt nervous so we did like we were focusing on, I suppose, macros and focusing on the quality of food on the plate. And I'd been tracking food for so long that that felt like the rug was being pulled from under me a little bit.
Mm,
Because I think my way of losing weight up until then had been look at the calories, track the calories, keep it below a certain amount, and everything will be okay. And of course, it was
mm,
like up to a point when I guess, my body was like, okay, I've stopped now. We're going to, you're at a point where it seems okay and I'm not letting you lose anymore. So that felt a bit discombobulating. Um, and sleep.
yeah.
We were I think, yeah, you you honed in on the sleep thing probably very quickly. And I think I'd just given up on the fact that my sleep would be bad.
Yeah,
Didn't think I could redeem any
yeah.
part.
This is just part of life. This is what
This
it
is just
looks like.
me.
This is who I am. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then I began to just start to realize how delicious a really good night's sleep actually is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now
And
you're excellent at getting a full night's sleep and often a nap when you want and need one as well.
yeah, no, I mean, I sleep solid 9 hours. Like I go to bed early. I'm a better person if I go to bed early. I'm a better person if I get a good night's sleep. And sometimes I'm a better person if I have a nap.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's what the body wants. It needs
Yes.
sleep. It definitely needs sleep, honestly. And was there kind of a point? Obviously, we started to talk about kind of changes at the beginning, but like, was there a point you were like, enough is enough, I can't do this, like, just it needs to change, this kind of move more, eat less process, just I can't keep, there has to be a different way.
I think it probably crept up on me a bit. Um it's a bit miserable. Like it doesn't feel like it's not sustainable. Like you can't be I think there was that at the back of my mind. Is that like I also, I mean, obviously in putting on the weight, I do enjoy food. Like I do like food and I like cooking and I like eating with my husband and cooking and that kind of thing. So I suppose in some ways the joy of food had gone a little bit.
Yeah.
And that, yeah. So it can be really hard as well when you're trying to work on something like that to say go out for food with friends or to even eating with people in work or having lunch and that it kind of gets if you're being very restrictive it becomes it kind of infiltrates your social life as well.
Mm.
So I suppose that was kind of kicking in a bit as well. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're kind of, I don't know, like for myself, that's certainly a place that I had been before. Like that kind of, okay, I'm going to play macro Tetris all of the time, and it's not actually about me or how I feel, but actually, does this robot in my phone approve of the number of calories and macros that I've eaten No?
Yeah,
Okay, well, I'll not do that thing. Or like, what's the lowest calorie item on the menu? Or also for me, just being super cheap, it was like, what's the cheapest and most calorie free? And honestly, the amount of thinking, just,
yeah,
yeah, there's no space left, no capacity left to then actually enjoy the experience, to like
yeah.
be present if all you're doing is mental maths the whole time to go home and plug it in later on. The,
I can remember like I used to travel for work to Malta and they would provide lunch and that really would throw me because I couldn't like if you've ever been there, the salads are full of oil and you get this
mm,
big huge piece of bread and so I would bring what I needed with me because I didn't want to have to eat that. I can remember someone saying to me, like, are you sick because you've lost so much weight and you don't eat anything we give us? And I was like, oh no, I'm not. I don't want to be that really because I'm like, no, I'm not. So
yeah,
yeah, and that's not to say I didn't eat. I definitely ate,
yeah,
but I just had, you know, I just kind of settled into this has worked, and it was what I was told to do as well. Because yeah,
yeah. Fair. So
yeah.
then if we go into kind of the process from there, we can kind of, we've had a few goal shifts and different things have happened since that point. But in those kind of early points, kind of you've touched on sleep and the starting to eat around your training. What were the biggest shifts that you experienced early, physically, mentally, emotionally? What felt or looked different?
Um, Physically, I started to kind of, I think I started to flourish a bit more in the gym. Like I started to be able to do more,
Mm.
which was good. So like alongside, I was, going to the gym and doing strength training, and it kind of it started to move a bit quicker. I think
Yeah,
um, started to just actually realize actually I kind of am a little bit strong, kind of thing, and
yeah,
felt began to feel more confident with that. Um, Definitely with I think as my sleep began to improve, um, I started to calm down a bit. I think
yeah.
you might disagree, but yeah,
Not at all.
yeah, no, sleep was a game changer for me. And then I think I just started to tune into a bit more to things that I liked to do. You
Mhm.
know, just kind of like you know, just kind of developing a kind of just a bit of time to think about, oh, I like doing this or I don't like doing this. Trying to think what else. Can you remember? I'm stuck.
Yeah, we'd had, yeah, sleep was one of the biggest ones, the fueling around your training. So then yeah, you started to go from strength to strength within the gym, less of like, I remember there was a day not long after I'd met you and you were like, well, I've cycled to the gym and then I've done one or two classes and then I'm gonna cycle home and it's all uphill to cycle home. I was like, have you got food that you're gonna eat? No, I'm just gonna sit and shake for like 5 minutes and then like I'll go because you were like visibly shaking. I was like, I have a banana and a hot cross bun in my bag because it was Easter. I was like, please, can you eat that? Like this isn't an option. Please, can you eat them? Which was good to see you then ate them and then started to bring your own snacks when you were cycling.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, we'd built in kind of more of activity to slow down. I think initially we hadn't necessarily touched on kind of I want you to move less because that was
yeah,
almost like that kind of control factor that was there. It
yeah,
was like, okay, I'll give you that one if you can please eat more to sustain it, to feel
yeah,
better, to actually get stronger from it, to be able to sleep better because you're eating more. So kind of
yeah.
as those two started to take effect, I think gradually you were a bit like, okay, no, okay, right, maybe I'm spending a bit too much time in the gym. Or like, actually, maybe this cycle to get there, like we obviously then came out of COVID restrictions and travel challenges and whatnot. There was like stuff the bike, like I'm not taking that anymore. So there was one less thing that needed to be fueled in the process. Um,
Yeah. There was a phenomenal amount of activity. Like I think I was maybe doing three small group trainings a week, plus classes, plus cycles there and back. So I mean, the thoughts of doing that now. horrifies me. But at the time, I definitely was exercising a huge amount. And I probably there wasn't a rest day. I don't think there was a rest day. It was, yeah.
Don't think so.
No.
There's maybe one at a push.
Yeah.
Um, and it's funny, like, I don't know about you, did you notice that it was there's an exercise that I'm starting to enjoy. Okay, I can start to do that thing and tell myself that I'm doing a lot of it because I enjoy it, but it's that kind of, okay, well, it's just a way I can control calorie output. There's actually like, I enjoy this, but it's also got this massive benefit that I quite like the sound of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Because it was like the cycling, I think, especially. So the cycling it was one of, we were in and out of COVID, and I probably didn't want to go on the bus because,
Mm,
or on, or on the train or whatever. But also the cycling was like, getting an added bonus now.
yeah.
And I live in a very hilly place, so it was kind of like, cycling up a hill to get out of the house and then cycling. So yeah, I think if I was being very honest, the cycling had extra benefit.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
fair, very fair. There's
yeah,
yeah, I'll eat more with this, or I'll have, I guess, at that time potentially more of that kind of earned
yeah,
relationship with food. Whereas now I think we're definitely past that one, and it's pure enjoyment. But we'll get to that.
yeah,
But yeah, it's funny the things that kind of creep in of like, I'll say one thing, but it kind of subconsciously means another one.
yeah,
Um, yeah. And we did a lot of kind of as we realized more and more that kind of that dysregulation particularly was playing in the kind of brain body not quite being in the same place, kind of a lot of the stress from kind of your dad passing away, from the PhD, from kind of just life being busy, the stress of COVID itself is quite a lot to take of okay, we're stuck in the house and what do we do with that? That
yeah,
actually starting to realize, okay, all of this is having a bit more of an effect than maybe you and I thought. But then also, okay, what do we do with that? Because actually, without kind of dealing with some of it probably feeling quite traumatic,
yeah,
um, kind of how do we move past that? It's then the kind of what's the deeper work that we need to do to then get your body into a safe place. To then
yeah,
feel like, okay, I can trust my instinct, I can trust what my body does, I can trust that actually my brain, my body, everything is crying that I need a rest day. But no, 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 no. Well, like, no, we don't need that. It's all right. So then I think we started to get into a lot of kind of the vagal nerve work. And I remember sending you a podcast.
yeah,
I was listening to it on the tube and I was like, oh my God, I have to share this with Sinead like immediately. Between stations, being like, right, okay, I'm gonna send this. And by like the afternoon, I think you'd listened to it on a walk and we're like, oh my God.
yeah. That was just, I don't know, but um, yeah, that was a real light bulb moment. I think it was Jessica Maguire, wasn't it? The
Yeah,
vagal nerve. Um, but yeah, it was that whole idea that your brain and your body are so connected. And I think, um, I think when you're anxious, well, and I identified as I have anxiety, like that was
mm,
really much my narrative. But actually, I think, there's some people who are thinking, well, it's all in your mind, but actually it's your mind and your body. And I don't
yeah,
actually think I was. I think obviously I wouldn't say that now. I wouldn't say I have anxiety, but I would say I was in an anxious state. I think
yeah,
my body was anxious. And I think as I began to calm down, I then began to recognize when certain situations or when certain whether that was I haven't rested or whether it was like I'm in a certain situation where this doesn't feel good. You begin to tune in a bit more to
yeah,
what what sets you off in a way like
mm,
think so it's kind of like um yeah, it's like I'm overtired now, and the things that go with being overtired are I get cranky, I get all those kind of things, but I think it's until you come down a little bit that you then begin to notice, you begin to tune in more. So
yeah.
that started to really happen.
As you start to have
Also,
kind of those days of like, okay, this is what it feels like to feel good,
Yeah,
you
also
then
not being
start to notice
hungry.
what changes. What was that?
Also not being hungry because you're
Yeah,
constantly anxious if you're hungry. Like, so then kind of like feeling satisfied. You're like, oh, so this is actually, yeah, I feel satiated. I feel well fed and watered. And yeah, I've
yeah,
slept. Yeah.
yeah. I'm not afraid of having that banana before I go to the gym. I'm not afraid to do certain
Yeah.
things. Okay, like the world's still gonna be okay if I
Yeah.
eat a little bit more and kind of trust and listen to that instinct. Yeah,
Hmm.
for sure, for sure. And I guess that was kind of when we started to put in things like Sinead's days. So kind
Yes.
of having a day of the week that was go away and do the things that you enjoy. And I think that was maybe how we started to incorporate rest days.
Yeah. That was like, there's one day a week. It was like, let's start small. Although there was, I mean, where I just did things that I liked. So, getting my nails done, um, doing anything to do with plants. Of like, that's been a big thing.
Mm.
Like, although I do think there was a time when you were like, can you just sit for like 10 minutes?
Yeah.
I can
I
remember
think that
texting
one
you.
came after. Yeah, it was like, okay, can we do 5 minutes? No. Just set an alarm, set a timer on your phone, and then just turn it upside down and just sit on the sofa
Yeah.
for 5 minutes. You were like, oh, no, I can't do this. Which is probably the most common response that I get to this request.
Yeah. I can remember sitting in a park near work, and like texting you and saying, I know it's really embarrassing, but I did set the timer and I managed to sit still for like 5 minutes and not do anything. So yeah, but yeah, just taking a day and not having a plan to go to the gym,
Mm,
not having an alarm to get up to, and just some and sometimes just not having any plan at all for the day. Although sometimes just planning to do nice things that I
yeah.
enjoy. Um, that had not been part of my life because especially with, I suppose, the PhD and that culture, like, taking Saturdays off. It's like, what are you talking about? It's
Mm,
not anything we do. Yeah.
yeah. I've got to do more. I've got to be productive. I've got to prove my time or worth.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of idea that if you switch off, something's going to happen and you're going to miss out on an opportunity. But yeah,
And now you switched off. Have you missed out on any opportunities?
no, 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 no. It's all like, it's nothing has, it's when you switch off, when you actually switch off, you realize, you know what, it's still going to be there and it's waiting for you. And, career wise, I've moved on and got promoted, got book contracts, done all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
nothing, and I've let some things pass me by, but usually I'm kind of a bit more on gut instinct now. Is that something I'm interested in? And yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a big one as well that we've worked on. The again, each of them in themselves have been quite difficult parts. It's that kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna pick up this belief. Do I still need it? Where did it come from? Is it serving me anymore? Do I want it? And one of the big ones was kind of the people pleasing, the saying yes to everything, even if it was like, I'm gonna be broken in half by the process of this. But yeah, yeah, okay, I suppose I can do that. It's fine. Cry. Like actually learning how to say no.
Yes, I was very, very bad at saying no. And I think I've learned in the process. I was listening to something a few weeks ago that where they're saying, like, boundaries are not about changing other people, it's about changing what you kind of accept or don't accept. And I don't think I'd ever slowed down enough to think about how much I was saying yes to things
Mm,
that I wasn't particularly pushed on doing, or things that I knew I could do or should do or whatever, but kind of putting my own kind of parameters on it. So like,
yeah,
I can do this for you, but not right at the moment. Or yes, like, saying no to an invite to go and meet people, or changing my mind. That's a really hard thing to do. Like, to actually
yeah,
go, you know what? I know I said yes to this, but actually, I'm so tired. I don't
I
want
need a
to.
nap.
Yeah. Or
I think
actually, I've
that's
got
a
to,
good one. Like the yes, but is such a good one. Like,
yeah,
yes, I'd love to do that, but in like 2 weeks, not right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, we're kind of parameters around what's acceptable and what's not. So, and I think probably when you feel as highly strung as I was, you think it's going to add to your stress. You think it's going to make it worse, but it doesn't. You do have to kind of have a little bit of faith in yourself that it's going to be okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
we worked incredibly hard on that, and kind of also recognizing if something just doesn't sit right or kind
Mm.
of, or what, when something really does feel good and you're like, oh, actually, I really, really like this. So, like,
Yeah.
um, you know, in the time I've worked with you, I've been in different gyms
Yeah.
and kind of, not that any of them were not nice or not whatever, but at particular times in your life, like now I go to the gym on my own now and I train on my own
Which we
because
never would have imagined
no,
would
I
be
would
a
never have.
thing.
No, but actually, I think at a certain point I needed the social contact. So
Mm.
post kind of COVID and during and being new to London, going to a gym and seeing people was really good for me, especially after my dad died. That was really kind of foundational, and I made friends there that I'm still friends with, and so
Hmm.
that was brilliant. But now at this particular point in my life, in the last year, the gym has been a place where I go and I switch off and I put on my headphones and I listen to very eclectic music and I just I tune out a little bit. So
I feel like
it's
we should
fun.
share a playlist to the eclectic mix of things.
Well, it's 90s rave to Dolly Parton to happy to share it. Beastie Boys. Yeah, so it really depends. But I think it's been kind of recognizing that kind of going, actually, that was fine then, but now I need to change. That's yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Kind of each of those places, is that kind of they're there for a reason or a season?
Yeah.
Each
Yeah.
of them has taught you something or given you something, whether that be kind of they've given you strength or they've given you some insight into, I like that bit of this, but I don't like that bit of this.
Yeah.
Or I like that bit of this, but I don't like this bit of this. And being able to find the thing that works for you, which I think has
Yeah.
worked really well for then being able to understand more, kind of like the volume of training that works for
Mhm.
you, or the style of training, or kind of the intention of things to be able to go, okay, wait a second, when we've got a bit too much of that, okay, that quickly pushes me into dysregulation. But now you can go and look at, we've had points where you've been like, I want to go and try out this gym just because I think I want to train with people for like once a week. And then you've looked at their program for every day and gone, absolutely not, because that's just, I'm not, no, I've learned enough from all of these experiences that I am not doing that. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Not like the time I signed up for a 2 week membership for a gym and never went. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly that one. Yeah. But then being able to know that actually being able to go to like a handstand workshop, for example, a
Yeah.
thing that never, like, again, much like kind of training solo, wouldn't have thought would be something on the agenda, but actually being able to learn something, which
Yeah.
kind of is something that's kind of one of your core values is important to you, that you're learning, that there's data, that there's information, that there's growth, to be
Yeah.
able to go, actually, wait a second, I'm going to go and play in a different way, but have someone coach me and have more opportunities to learn from it and be in a safe place to do it.
Yeah.
Like
It's a bit like
each
a
of those
Rubik's
has
Cube,
taught.
isn't it? You
Yeah,
shift it round and then it's like eventually you get it back. But yeah, like the handstands are a really good example. I love learning how to do them, but in a small gym with lots of people near me, didn't
not
like
the one.
it. Not the
Yeah,
one. Absolutely not the one. Absolutely not the one when I only have 10 minutes to do it. Whereas
yeah,
like I went to a church and it was
so cool.
like, it was 3 hours long and it was loads of space. And I was like, okay, I like this. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
the environment does just make such a difference, which
Hmm.
I think kind of there's a few occasions where we can see that with you, like how the environment has certainly shifted things of like kind of whether that be office culture or travel or kind of training or setting up to, okay, my view is I'm not going to eat very much, I'm going to restrict things, to then actually I've got an environment of abundance. I give myself permission to approach things with curiosity and see what's going on and see what works for me versus, well, if it wasn't right the first time, I'm going to beat myself up about it because it should just be the right thing. And I say this very lovingly as the similar person that does exactly the same thing or did exactly the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. And I mean, there's times I think when I do beat myself up, but generally it's because I'm probably worried about something else or tired about something, tired or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I think that's another one that, like, with the process of slowing down and being able to take stock of, okay, what works, what doesn't work. We've
Mhm.
had a lot more situations of, like, kind of, you mentioned kind of the realizing that you were high risk for breast cancer. Kind of,
Yeah.
there's been kind of a repeat kind of, I guess, health security, health conscious narrative through a lot that we've done and kind of wanting to make sure that everything you do kind of puts you in the best health so that that risk isn't high.
Yeah.
But when there are the occasions of, for example, screenings that come up, we've now started to notice very quickly, like within a few days of, wait a second, I've started to do this, this, and this to control things that are going on because I'm scared of this one big thing,
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I know. It's, I
which
mean,
is
it
very
always,
understandable.
yeah. Yeah, I know. But I think when you are, so lots of women have carry risk for breast cancer. Some of them are more aware of it than others. I am aware of mine. Um, I think, you're plopped into a screening program and it's like, I think, I don't know. I think there's a narrative perhaps that then that's okay. Like you're in it and sure, isn't it great you're being screened? Because you should, but actually there's a whole other thing around it of the anxiety that it induces and
Mm,
how it makes you feel and spacing between results and so on and so forth. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, and then that's changed for me in the last year. So my screening, my risk has increased. So yeah, so that's been a real challenge.
yeah.
Yeah.
And do you want
Mm.
to share what's happened with that one?
Yeah, so I think, so it was interesting actually. I think the last time we spoke, we were like, oh yeah, this is going to on podcast. I sound like we've got a podcast series now.
We should do.
Yeah, so I think until like last year, I was getting screened once a year, and then I got recalled by the genetic service. Just I thought it was just like for like an annual review or something. I didn't know what it was for. So yeah, I think January this year I got a letter in the post to say my my risk had increased, and I was eligible for surgery, which completely like just pulled the rug from under me. So
I think
um,
when we last recorded, that must have been around the time that they were like, okay, through all of the work you've done with nutrition, all of the stuff that you're doing with your sleep, with your training, like you're in a position that actually we don't need to do these checks anymore. You're good, sweet. See you in a couple of years.
that was for my pancreas.
Right, okay.
So right, so the I carry a genetic mutation for the ATM gene, which increases your risk of both breast cancer and pancreatic cancer. But my pancreas is looking really healthy, and they were like, no point in screening anymore for that. It looks good, but the breast risk always was elevated. And your risk, I think the thing that I've learned is your risk is your family history when you had your period, also your lifestyle, health, weight, all that, plus any genetic kind
Mm.
of factors. So it's a combination of those things. So anyway, yes. So for the first, I'd say 4 months, 5 months of this year, I just took the bull by the horns and went to a private menopause GP to talk, and went back to the hospital and said I want to talk about this, and went to a private consultant to say I want, I got bounced from different people,
Mm.
which was really hard. But I think I was in a position to kind of stand up for myself and say, no as well. So
Yeah.
that that had kind of, you'd created a monster. But yeah, because there's like stuff I was reading in the letters, and I was like, oh, that doesn't make sense because she said this and they said that. So it was like trying to make sense of all the different pieces of information. So, and anyway, long story short, I've decided to have the risk reducing mastectomies and reconstruction. So, yeah, that's going to happen at some point soon enough because I had my pre-op assessment last week.
Yeah.
So but that's been so it's been a really challenging year. And I think what I'm kind of proud of, I guess in a sense, is that I knew then that all through that it was really important to look after myself,
Mm,
and kind of keep working out, keep eating healthily. And actually, if anything, we've probably increased the focus on healthy eating because I like
yeah.
really focused on like this is the year I gave up dairy. This is the year I really looked at processed foods. Like I think things I might have went on, that's okay. Like actually it was like, no, actually I'm really going to do this. So
Yeah.
but at the same time, still having a good social life and all that kind of stuff. So managing to keep that going when all the yeah
Yeah.
stuff's been going on.
A bit
Yeah.
of the kind of these are the things that make me feel good. So rather than often when we're stressed or there's uncertainty, kind of going, oh, I'm going to fully hermit away and I'm not going to do any of those things. Actually, how can I double down on the things that make me feel good? How can I make them a priority? And yes, maybe there's still kind of some hermiting, some overwhelm, some kind of leaning
Yeah.
into. I think one of the big ones we found is kind of going back to the weighing scales as that kind of your body's way of creating control and safety,
Yeah.
which there's nothing wrong with. Is like it's the okay, this is the place that I know that I have a level of control, and right now I'm out of control in a lot of things. But
Yeah.
rather than going, okay, well, I'm also going to restrict food and I'm going to over exercise as a way to be able to deal with this, you've gone, okay, we're going to keep the scales, but actually, what's worrying me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I don't want them to say X, Y, Z when I go into the appointments and I want to feel prepared. Okay, well, what do we do to make sure that they don't say that?
Yeah.
Which,
It's
if
been
not,
no. Well, I mean, I think anyone who's been through the NHS will know that they'll weigh and measure you and they'll tell you what your BMI is. And so I think that's been hard to deal with because my previous experience of doctors and medical professionals, they'll look at they'll just tell you, oh, you need to lose weight, you need to bring that down. But actually, so that's been hard because I've had so many hospital appointments. Like
yeah.
I don't think there's been a month, and I think there was a month where I
There
thought
was a
I'd have a
month we
month
thought
off,
there would be none, and then there was another.
and then there was another, and I was absolutely devastated because I built myself up that I was going to have a break. But even though that's what's on their paperwork and that's what they weigh and measure, actually they've been fine. Like nobody at any point has told me I need to lose weight, even though my BMI is not within
Mm.
the range. I mean, I think it's just yeah. I
It
mean,
just
I
goes
think
to
I
show
tried.
how much nonsense the BMI is. Like instead, they've gone, "Oh, you have really strong abs," or like when
I
you
forgot.
said that you did weightlifting, and they were like, "Well, of course you do. I can tell that just from looking at you." Like, yeah, the you've now got it on your records that you're a top
Yeah, I was
level
so happy.
athlete. Like,
I got a letter and it was like social history. And it was like married, does this, weightlifter. And I was like, okay, that might have been a slight exaggeration. But
oh,
yeah, so that's been it's kind of like and you know what? I was I kind of sometimes wonder because when I initially knew I had the genetic mutation, it was about 2015. That's the period when I started to put on a lot of weight, and I
mm,
maybe in some ways, not saying they're connected, but I think it was that kind of not dealing, not dealing with
yeah,
it and getting highly stressed. Whereas now it's kind of like I'm like I just feel like I was in some ways I was ready for
yeah,
this. I didn't know it was going to happen, didn't want it to happen, denied that it might have been an option, was told it wasn't, and now when they came around and said, "Oh, you can do this now," it was like, Oh, okay. Right. So,
Yeah. And I think that was a big decision when you went in for those first appointments of like, okay, I can not have the surgery and continue to go through the, okay, you have to go through frequent checks and we have to go in and out of the hospital. And it's kind of this underlying thing that's there that's caused stress and worry for years.
mhm.
Or I can do this and then reduce the risk and
Yeah.
live my life. That when we first spoke about it, I was like, I am not going to say what I think because that is absolutely not my role.
No.
But you can voice it and we can talk about it and we can talk through all of the things and we can discuss the options. And then you went and I was like, I have no idea what she's going to do. And then you messaged me after the appointment. You were like, I'm getting surgery. I was like, yes, good. Because to
Yeah.
give you from like from the last few years and knowing the pressure of going in for those appointments, for you to
Yeah.
have that relief of actually, I don't have to do that as much now. Sure, it'll still probably be there,
Yeah. I mean, you
but
bring your risk down, I think, from, you know, you bring it down at least by 35%. It's like,
yeah.
it's never not gone, but depending on
Mm,
how well they do it. But yeah, I had my last mammogram in August, and I just like the feeling off my shoulders of kind of going, this is the last one.
yeah,
So yeah, it's great.
yeah,
But it is a really difficult choice, and it's particularly hard to navigate because there's not, there's so many variables, and just
mm,
having that space. Actually, what was probably the hardest for me is not making a decision straight away.
yeah,
Like that was really hard. Like actually waiting and weighing things up and talking to different people, and there's a deliberate reason why they don't allow you to make decisions quickly. And it's like,
yeah,
okay, yeah,
yeah. You had a few days in Ireland walking the hills and your thoughts.
yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I was up in mountains in Mayo actually, and I just walked and walked and walked, and then mentally in my mind it was like, I do this, I could do this, could do this, and there are other options, of course, and for other
Hmm.
people that those other options might be absolutely perfectly fine, but it's just
Yeah,
kind of, what would life be if I did it? What would life be if I didn't do it? What would the things be like? And I just think that I feel empowered to make a decision and own that decision. And, you know, that life just feels like it would be better having made that decision. Also, I'm very healthy at the moment and I'm really strong. So I'm probably in the best position ever compared to if I, found a lump or had breast cancer and then had to do it. It's a completely different
yeah,
scenario. So, but it's a very personal decision. And 10 years ago, that wasn't the decision that sat comfortably with me. It
yeah,
is now. Yeah.
yeah. It's just
Um,
kind of testament to kind of the work you've done with kind of fueling your body right to, okay, I
mhm.
feel safe. Like I can go in calmly to these situations, like knowing that, okay, yes, my BMI might sit here, but actually I'm stronger than I've ever been and I'm only getting stronger. And
Yeah.
doing so much of the kind of deeper work to sit with the questions. And you're now probably at the point of like, well, Amy, stop sending me random journal prompts that just make me sweat. But being able to do that, I think sometimes like things happen for a reason. I don't know about you, like I'm very much of a, especially in the last couple of years, kind of the universe will put things in front of us that are meant to be there. There's certain challenges that will come up that are there for a reason that are good for us to experience. And I
Yeah.
think this is almost for you, like that opportunity to go, okay, well, this was the old story of what going to the doctors was like, of the hospital, of health. And actually now it's that opportunity to go, no, I don't believe any of that anymore. That's not true. That's not for me. It gives you the chance to take one by one every appointment, the chance to retest it and go, nah, it's not true anymore.
Yeah.
That's not who I am. This is what I want to believe now. That feels better. I'm strong. I'm good. I'm healthy. And how can I be the strongest, healthiest person that I can be?
Yeah. I think, I mean, I've said it to you a few times, and you're like, well, nobody's kind of, how's it been so far? Nobody's like, do you believe it now? Like, kind of testing the narrative in a way. And I think the last time I went, I was like, mentally, I'm prepared for somebody to do the BMI thing, but I'm ready to like fight back in a way and go, well, I can deadlift 125 kilograms. I can do a chin up on my body weight. Which is better,
Yeah.
going into surgery being strong, or, you know, and I do understand it. There has to be a metric, but it's just a bit crap.
Yeah. I feel like they should put the metric of weight lifted and I mean, you went in last week wanting them to put you on the bike test. So
Yeah, they did it. They had a fitness test where they put a mask on you and, you'd cycle a bike, and I really wanted to do it. They didn't
I
let
bet
me.
they were so confused when you asked to do it.
Yeah, but yeah, and I do know, I'm just going to go back to what you said there. I do feel like the universe in a way does look after you a bit. Like, I think my health is so much better. Like before, I think when I started working with you, I had low iron quite a lot, and my B12 was low, and stuff like that. Asthma was really kind of brittle, and kind of,
Mm,
I'd have flare ups and this and whatever. And I think I'm just like so much calmer, and like, you know, bloods are fine, asthma's under control. That's kind of like, so I'm kind of an on-camera person kind of thing.
yeah.
And I mean, even though I'm terrified at the idea of not being able to go to the gym, I think I might be good at staying still for a while, which will be important. I mean, the fact
We've
the
we've
not
learned to
moving.
be able to sit still in 5 minute increments. And
Yeah,
that for the rest of the time.
yeah. I mean, 6 to 8 weeks of it terrifies me a bit, but I think I'll be able to do it. Like, I get wildly sad at the thought of, like, will I lose my strength? Will I lose this, or will I lose that? But I know I can get it back.
Yeah,
I just have to work hard at it. Mm,
definitely.
mm,
Definitely. It's just that kind of the training might look a little bit different, but we've adapted what training looks like, particularly in the last year already. So you'd had kind of the place that we first met for training, you'd moved to
mm.
another gym, you'd then joined CrossFit, like you did your first open at 42?
No,
No,
46. Is it?
46.
So, no, 45. No, what? Yeah, 45. I
First,
came first in my division.
you did.
Basically, I was the only person. But I was really disappointed that there wasn't a medal for that. But yeah. So yeah. But yeah,
So you
changing.
had your first open, you did two high roxes?
I've done 3 high rocks.
Three high roxes.
I did a team high rocks. We came third in our division. I did one in Berlin and did one in New York.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's high rocks over for me. And
So you did
then,
sandwich like several of these things within like a 4 month period, right?
yeah, I mean, that obviously that's one of those things that you kind of learn that you're not going to do again.
Yeah.
And then last month I did a like thing called Turf Warrior, where it was just basically 8 kilometers of SAS type obstacles.
It looked
Ah,
very fun, especially the being electrocuted.
yeah, being electrocuted was I thought the guy was joking, and he was like, "Be
Mm.
careful going through here." And then it was like, something hit my head, and I face planted, and I was like, "Oh, I think I've been electrocuted." Jumped into a fjord, swung across ditches, not very well. I have to work on my rope swing, but yeah. So I've
All
done
the
things like
fun
that.
just
Yeah,
playing and trying things and seeing how
yeah,
they go.
yeah. No, that was good. It was really fun, but yeah, I think with training has changed a lot in the last year. I think probably at the moment working a lot on upper body strength and things like that.
Teaching
Um,
the lats what they want and need to do.
Not the
But that's
lads, the lads.
the lats, teaching the lats, the lats. And part of that being kind of working towards like your first chin-ups, getting stronger and stronger, but also that preparation for surgery. And then in the last year, broadly, kind of change in training from kind of more kind of intense CrossFit style of training and that variation that kind of as you moved into perimenopause, kind of body wasn't responding as well to. kind of
Yeah.
realizing that kind of you were sore much more often for much longer and kind of training until we kind of adapted training, not feeling as fun.
Yeah. I think, I loved CrossFit in many ways. And I enjoyed doing it and I enjoyed the classes, but it was intense. And there just came probably not helped by my repeatedly doing high rocks as well. But I think I got to August last year, so exactly a year ago, and I just felt beaten up, and
Yeah.
my feet felt sore, and my bones felt sore, and my knees, and that everything felt sore. And in some ways, I'm my own worst enemy because I like to do things well. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and so it was really hard to kind of like actually admit this is I feel sore. And I could you could just cherry pick the sessions you go to. That's fine. But I want to do something like 3 or 4 times a week.
Mm.
And I just couldn't sustain it. Like it was kind of so it worked out well because I was taking a sabbatical. So it was like, okay, let's take a sabbatical from this. You're not giving up. So it's not a failure. It's not anything. It's just like just change it for a while. And then
Yeah.
changing it for a few months is like, okay, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So then we'd change the focus to actually, okay, can we lift heavy?
yeah.
Can we have routine? So kind of you knew week on week, kind of we had 4 week blocks of it's gonna kind of repeat. We're gonna
Hmm.
see similarities. We're gonna have that building strength, that smaller number of reps. A lot of
Hmm.
fun sprints instead of long slogs of workouts.
Yes, yeah. And I just felt better. Just started to, I really like lifting heavy. Like it's like and that's the thing about finding what you enjoy to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually, I really like doing a really heavy deadlift, and I really like squatting really heavy. I mean, not that you let me do it all the time.
Now we're very much on a we're going to squat much, much lighter, but we're going to do it in a certain way so that then you can lift way heavier next time.
I know, and I still get DOMs.
Mm.
It's like I kind of feel what's the word? Yeah, I feel like kind of okay, I'm still getting DOMs. It's okay. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Okay,
working.
there's
But
still we've still got that reminder that they're working.
yeah. And I think also working on things like mobility, because I think what became hard or became quite obvious in kind of doing CrossFit is that I still probably I've had a back injury years and years ago, but I've got peculiar mobility in different kind of ways. Like sometimes my glutes don't work. And so actually
We're still
really
trying to
work.
work out if a nerve was cut or not.
Yeah, so I think having time to just do that, so that and the sprints at the end of the session just suit my body a bit more, and maybe not doing so many like box jumps, even though there's still a little bit in there, but jumping, but not all the time. And
Yeah,
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of having an amount that's going to make you stronger, which is
yeah,
important, particularly kind of making sure that your bones stay strong and continue to stay strong, but also the kind of not having an additional stress load by
mhm,
having really long workouts that are really difficult to recover from or so much volume that you can't recover, particularly now that there's the stress of, okay, I've got multiple hospital doctor's appointments. Okay, we
mhm,
don't need to kind of bring that stress load back up so much that it's just you feel beaten up
mhm,
afterwards.
yeah.
So yeah,
It's been good. I'm walking more, just
yeah.
walking. Yeah, so that's been great.
Yeah,
Mhm,
amazing. I think
mhm,
one of the last big changes, and I think it's probably been more so in kind of work potentially, kind of last year, kind of that ADHD diagnosis and realizing actually kind of the things that we've worked on with, okay, nervous system is going to feel calmer here, or having this part of your routine feels better here.
mhm.
Okay, wait a second, there's now this backup of, okay, can I have my environment set up at work to have kind of noise cancelling, to have meetings in a certain place, to have chill time, to have reinforcement of boundaries that have
Yeah,
been built over a period.
yeah. It's I think beginning to recognize what's good for your nervous system and then just doesn't feel comfortable. And I think that probably comes with the knowing what calm is,
Yeah.
that you kind of then begin to realize, actually, do you know what? If I'm in meetings back to back to back, I get very kind of dysregulated. And actually, there's certain times when my concentration can be really, really bad. So what does it look like when it's really, really good?
Mm.
And that's been great. Like, stuff like just understanding what are I don't like the words accommodation so much, but the adjustments I need to make to work
Hmm.
quietly and well.
Yeah.
So that's been really, really good. Um, I probably learned a lot of myself in writing a book for the last year, that it was actually, you know, when can I really push it and focus really well? And when do I need to actually just walk away from something? So I think that's come with that. Mm,
Yeah. Really
mm,
cool. And
yeah.
what would you say you're most proud of achieving through this whole journey so far?
Oh, let me see. Proud. I think I'm just proud at knowing myself much more. I think tuning into what my strengths are and what's challenging for me, and kind of recognizing myself. Like, just I feel so much happier. Like, I know what brings me joy. I know what doesn't. And I'm much better at recognizing that. And I think I'm much, much, much kinder to myself than I was. I think I was probably had worked myself into a way that I was being incredibly hard on myself. And that's something that I think you've probably worked really hard on me, to try and get me to acknowledge wins, to try and get me to kind of, I think give myself a break. So I think I'm proud of that. Um, and I think I'm really proud of with how I've dealt with the last year. I've had to stand up for myself. I've had to advocate for myself. I've had to be kind to myself, and I've had to do things I didn't really like, but I kind of did it. But I've also enjoyed myself at the same time. Like, I haven't let it take over. So that's been great. Yeah.
It's really good. I've
Yeah.
been able to roll with the punches, I guess,
Yeah.
but not let kind of the worry of things and uncertainty of things kind of take over or take joy away from the good moments. It's just kind of, okay, this thing is happening, but the rest of the world's still happening as well.
Yeah, because life is still happening. Like, it's kind of like, yeah, I had plans. I'm probably going to have to change those plans, but that's just for now. And, I think I think we're all can probably be thinking so much about the future and what's going to happen in the future. And it's trying to be present and enjoy what we're doing at the moment
Yeah.
is really hard. And I mean, my ability to pause is still a challenge, but I think, yeah,
This is like your
it's
biggest competition yet. Never mind jumping into electric baths. It's seeing how long you can chill for and
yeah, I
strengthen
think
that muscle and have opportunity to just be present, I think was the last challenge that I gave you on our last call.
I know it's like the day I go to a yoga retreat. It's like the day you're just like, what's wrong with her?
That's it. I
Um,
mean, you went to Morocco at the start of the year for chill there.
yeah, no, I went to Marrakesh, and yeah, so still enjoying kind of all those kind of things that I really enjoy, going to raves and getting my nails done and
Yeah,
getting dressed up and stuff like that. So I think I'm proud of kind of managing to kind of juggle a few, I suppose, heavy dark balls in a way, but also kind of keep things light and keep training. Yeah, and I mean, I feel my strength has gone as I would say, my strength's gone from strength to strength, but my strength like has really improved in the last
Yeah.
year since we changed the training to suit being a perimenopausal, which I am. Like it's
Yeah.
just it takes it's a big leap of faith to go from training a lot and training all the time to actually training less, sometimes with less weight and with less intensity. Um, that's been yeah, that's very challenging because I think one of the other challenges this year is I put on weight.
Mm.
Um, so inevitably, with all the things that were going on and everything, I think I hadn't been on the scales for ages, and then I got on the scales, and I was like, "Amy," and it was just, yeah, that was really hard for me to realize that actually I put on quite a, I don't know, maybe a stone, I think,
Maybe, yeah.
but yeah, maybe stone, and it was like, oh, and it was like, and then actually having to really question, why do I want to lose this weight again, and how can I do it? But now I know I actually, this is what I need to eat, and these are the things I need to eat, and I'm not prepared to restrict. So that was
Mm.
trying working with that was
Yeah.
I think we've done okay.
You've done really well. I think the big one at that point was I think you'd come on to one of our calls and a bit of a panic, which was understandable.
Yeah,
And we took a second and went, okay, because I think the panic that was coming in was I'm going back to where I was before. Kind
yeah,
of when there'd been a lot of that health uncertainty, the health fear, when you'd gained weight with it as a result previously, and going, wait a second, breathe. Okay, how does life look like now compared to then?
yeah.
It's a number. What's different? Like, are these situations the same? Very quickly, no. No, they're not the same. And being able to realize actually, okay, do you want to change this, or is it just the kind of you see that number and you think of previous you and
Hmm.
previously what was going on and what the story was back then. And I think we came to the okay, I want to change this, but also yes, I'm not that person. I
Hmm.
don't like I just don't identify as her now. I am this and these are my strengths and this is what I bring and it all has nothing to do with weight. And then we
Hmm.
cut out dairy because actually your stomach wasn't loving it. You were feeling super inflamed, and since then it's been a very good thing. And just taking small actions and noticing the things that make a difference and like adding in more walks and more gentle movement and again like kind of walks without phone calls but maybe with podcasts so that you've got chance every single day to re-regulate at the end of the day when there's a lot of stuff going on. So I think yeah, you were faced with again multiple challenges this year of testing kind of old beliefs and going, do I still believe that? Does that still serve me? What do I want from this?
Yeah. Yeah, and the weight is creeping back down, and like we
Mm.
have the little graph, and it's up and down and up and down, and then actually understanding that sometimes it goes up at certain points in my cycle, and then really cutting out the dairy has just, you know, that's just, yeah. I don't even there's no part of me that wants to eat dairy now because I know what happens. Whereas before it was kind of like, oh yeah, it'll be, it'll be fine, or it's, so I think the inflammation has completely
Yeah.
gone
I guess
down.
another one like the sleep of like, well, like grumbling stomach and things, it's just who I am. That's just part of what's going on. Oh, wait a second. Okay, no, I don't have to sleep with true crime podcasts. I don't need to eat dairy. Okay, there's a few things that we can change that we didn't think we could, but don't come overnight.
No, they don't. No, and actually, probably actually realizing that, maybe tracking for maybe a week in a month.
Yeah.
So having that bit of balance where it's like, okay, just do it for a week and see what happens. I think there was one period where I was like, actually, I'm going to do it for 2 weeks because I kind of was wildly off, and realizing actually, no, I'm not getting enough protein in. That slipped. So adding, protein shake in
Yeah.
um, at different points has made the difference. So kind of, and also having faith in the, like, I'm not going to get back on cycling everywhere to surreptitiously kind of up my calorie expenditure. It was like
Thank God.
wheels have disintegrated on the bike anyway. That's been hasn't been cycled
Honestly.
in so long. But yeah, but like the walking's a double-edged kind of sword in a way because it's switch off time, it's quiet time, and it's more movement. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so many
think.
good things.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And have people around you started to notice the changes?
They, I imagine so. I think so.
I imagine Chris can probably, well, Chris doesn't have to force feed you now. He knows
Chris
that
doesn't,
there's
yeah,
going to be food in the house all the time.
Chris never has to force feed me anymore. No, I think, I think we both enjoy our, weekends and downtime, and that trying to be present. So like, I know as well, like I'll put my phone away in the evening, and kind of no distractions. It's about not being always on, which has been good. And I suppose sometimes I might hear, close friends say about, things that oh, you love that, or you really enjoy that, or, it's like something you really enjoy. And I don't think I had that kind of, I think my passion for things that are outside of work had kind of got dulled down in the
Mm,
last few years of like changing career and moving and all that kind of thing. So like, I love my vegetables. Like I grow, we have a little allotment plot, and I just love that. And people know that about me now. So I think maybe I'm probably a bit more excited about things
yeah.
that I do. And then my sister and myself regularly send texts to each other about being athletes.
Comparing chin-ups and having competitions, and I love it.
Well,
It's great.
she's doing her fifth high rocks this weekend,
That's
so
mental.
she may continue.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
so cool. So cool. And really
Um,
cool that like was that a thing that either of you were interested in before?
No, no, I don't. No, not at all. And I mean, she's had the surgery. She's had mastectomy surgery before. So like seeing her do do all that, like she's an inspiration as well because you're kind of like, well, she's doing all that kind of stuff, and it's So I know I can get back to that. But doing the single high rocks thing, no, she that can be her thing. That's not good.
Not the one. Yeah, she's
No.
crazy on that front, but very good great confirmation for you to be able to see, okay, she's done what I'm about to do, and now she's doing her fifth high rocks. And yeah, the
Yeah.
inspiration, as you say, that she's got the strength, the confidence, the desire, the ability to be able to do it. And if you want to, you can also do that. But also you're going to be the strongest gardener there is.
Yeah, so I think probably in that sense, people might notice the difference. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I remember there
Mm.
being someone that came up to you at a conference
Hmm.
that had noticed that they'd commented on whether it was the difference from weightlifting or something, was they noticed that something was different in like your calmness and how you presented themselves. I can't remember which conference you were at.
Oh,
But I remember
no,
you speaking at something and someone had come up to you to specifically say, I can
this
tell the
car.
difference from what you're doing.
Yeah, I think it was about the weightlifting, to be honest.
Hmm.
I don't know. Probably the fact that I don't go to all the things at conferences anymore.
Yeah, probably. But
Um,
like in a positive way.
yeah. So I mean, even that like has been, that's part of my job. That's what you're expected to do. But I'll be very kind of boundary done, kind of, I'll go to this, but actually being around people all the time, overstimulating.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So yeah,
And being able, like, that's a real strength to be able to see the things that do dysregulate or aren't enjoyable and then have the boundaries to honor. I see that's a problem. I'm going to acknowledge it's a problem and I'm going to do something about it so that I can enjoy the thing that I'm at more. I can be present. I can get more from this rather than like, well, I'll go along with it 'cause it's easier to say yes and then be exhausted and hate it and then have to recover for 2 weeks afterwards.
yeah.
Um,
So I think like my colleagues now, my close colleague, we'll go to one. There's one particular conference we'll go to every year, and it's just an expectation now that Sinead will go off and do weightlifting in a random gym.
damn
So
right.
like, yeah. So then so that we know that I'll do this, I'll present, I'll go to certain things, but there's going to be a morning where she will disappear and she will, I'm talking about myself in the third person, which is really weird, but there is a morning where it's expected that
Yeah.
I'll go off and do my own thing.
That's really cool though. Like rather than, okay, I'm gonna the person that's always available and always there, actually, no, she will go
Yeah,
and lift at this conference every time.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. So, random. Yeah, went back to. I was in Ireland. What was it in August? I think I did 4 different gyms.
The full tour.
Yeah, yeah,
So cool.
yeah.
And if you could speak to the version of yourself before starting all of this, what would you say to her?
Oh, I think I'd tell her to be kinder to herself and to stop. Whether that was just to take a breath or to breathe or to, to slow down. I think very often, particularly with weight related issues, I think the narrative with losing weight can be very much about you are not doing the right thing, or you are, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, or if you just did this, or if you just kind of, you know, did something else. I think that can really get in on you. And I
Yeah.
think um it the danger of it is that you stop being kind to yourself and kind of stop kind of looking at actually these are the things that are going on in your environment that aren't helping you.
Mm.
So I think I very much took that on as a, it's just you. You can't do this or you can't do that. Whereas I think what was really great when I started working with you was, and even when I put on, let's say, put on the stone in the last whatever year, there was never a kind of a conversation about, what have you stopped doing or what are you not doing? Or if you just did this, it was like, right, let's look at what the context is and look at where you are now and kind of think about what are the small adjustments that need to be made. And there, so I think it took a huge amount of unlearning from previous narratives to just be kind to myself and actually kind of think, well, actually, I've changed career, I've moved multiple times, I've been, it's actually, I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
You just need to be a bit kinder to yourself. And then the slowing down, because, you know, that not stopping is like constantly working and constantly kind of exercising and everything. It's just, it's not sustainable
Yeah.
and it'll wear you down and it doesn't give you space to think.
I
Um,
mean, we stop and charge our phones and our laptops and things every day, but we
yeah,
think that we can just keep going.
yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we don't. I think it's like valuing, like rest is not a bad thing. Um, and I'm definitely not a master of rest, but I'm much, much better at
Much
it.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like this weekend, I think in my head I was going to go to the gym twice, and Saturday it was like, nah, just not feeling it. And but the good thing is, I knew that in our program, if I was to say to you, I didn't go to the gym, you'd be probably like, good,
Yeah.
yeah. Whereas I
Yeah.
know, like, you know, I have friends who've trained with people who are like, well, if you're not going to do it 5 times a week, you might as well, you know.
Just don't even bother. What's the point? And I'll
uh,
be like, how are the veggies? Did you go and see them instead? Like, what are your nails looking like?
yeah. So
But I
yeah,
think
you'll
every
not.
time that, I mean, obviously you're not canceling the gym all of the time, but I know for certain that when you do cancel, there's really good reason for that. There's really good intuition. There's kind of knowledge there
Yeah,
that you're not just gonna go, oh, sod it, like a no,
no,
just can't be
never. Like,
bothered, and then I'm not gonna go for a week. But actually, it's like on the occasions that you go, I'm not going, I'll pick it up next week. And then
yeah,
often we're like, don't do an extra, just do what's planned for the next week. Like
yeah,
knowing that your intuition is so strong that you don't need berated. for not going and doing something. It's just that, okay, let's understand it or just go, sweet, that's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I also recognize that there are times when I probably need a like a I can remember I think the first time I took like a whole week off and it was like,
Mm,
whoa. Or if I was going away that I'd be panicking that I couldn't get to the gym. Whereas
yeah.
I'm much better now at um kind of making an alternative plan or running. Not running, what am I talking about?
You have done
Walking.
sometimes.
I do. I'll run if the spirit takes me now. I'm
Yeah.
just like, sometimes I'll be out and I'm like, oh, I think I kind of feel like a little run. But
Trot
yeah,
for a few minutes. Cool, that's out my system. Done now.
yeah. So I think I'm much better at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'd always train probably minimum 3 times a week, but I
Yeah.
think I have 4 sessions in a week. So if ever I decide I'm not going to train, it's
And
probably just
occasionally we've gone back to like five and then gone, nah, it's
no.
not, this just isn't required.
Yeah.
And that fifth one generally being go and flip some tires and have a good laugh.
Yeah, really enjoy flipping tires. Although if I could do one without getting bruised, that would be good. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I still never learned that one. So one day, one day we'll work it out. If anyone can comment and tell us, then it would be greatly appreciated by many women around the world.
I think like in the gym that I go to, is like maybe a couple of months ago, I found a tire and I was so excited. It's like,
That's
yeah,
brilliant.
put it
That's
in my
brilliant.
program.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
amazing.
yeah. I think what would I say? Be kind and stop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is a big shift. Both of those things. Not kind of berating and being mean, be kind. And don't just keep pummeling yourself into the ground. Stop
yeah.
and breathe.
And I think I also recognize now that at times when I'm not so kind to myself, or I get annoyed at myself, yeah, headstands in particular are things that are really hard. Like it's kind of if I say something out loud, I'm like, no, that's not a really, yeah, you're not really being, it's kind of like now I'll kind of,
You can catch it.
I can catch the voice. I can kind of go, actually, you know what? Rather than being horrible to yourself, maybe ask for help. So like headstands are a really good example. I was starting to get really annoyed at myself, and I said it to you. I was like, so please can you help me? Because yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's that again, kind of, is it something, each of these things, and particularly with movement, because where it's gone from we've done CrossFit to then training solo. Okay, which of the movements do you want to keep in and which ones do you want to get rid of? And some we've kind of cycled through to kind of almost learn, okay, that's cool if you're there, but actually it's meaningless and I just want to lift a heavy bar. It's like, I'm
yeah,
good, I'm fine, whatever. Working out what things are worth the energy and then which ones aren't, which ones
yeah,
don't add anything. And this one particularly, I've been slightly more mean in that I never want you to think you can't do a thing. So you have two
yeah,
more weeks of the fun purely for like the exposure therapy style. Let's just see what happens and it's play and working through the I'm all right with not being very good at something and I'm not going to be mean to myself about it
yeah.
because let's just see and play.
Try,
But then
and
we'll
I'm
change them to dips next and then I'll have much more fun.
yeah. Suddenly decided I want to be able to do it. Yeah, yeah, and also recognizing that that voice may be particularly stronger at a certain point in the month as well.
Yeah. That
You
one
may
we've definitely noticed. I think especially like as we got into like changing the training from the constantly very CrossFit style to actually you've got 4 weeks of the same day has the same movement with progression and a couple of variations to then, okay, right, on the second week of the program or in this week of the month, I
yeah,
always feel strong.
yeah,
Cool, great, because like your cycle wasn't telling you that anymore. You didn't know where
yeah,
that week was in the same way that you had previously. And then now, since having the coil, going, okay, wait a second, that's a bit more consistent. But actually, there's this one week, and I'm ready and bracing for that week every time it comes up now of like, I hate this movement and I don't like this thing. It's like, I'm going to give you the nicest week of training on the week of this. And then that week you message, you're like, I don't like this food. And then this thing happened. And I was like, okay, no, it's not the movement. It's just general. Okay, fine.
I mean,
But
it
being
did
able
take
to
you,
see those patterns and find
yeah,
ways that actually having that routine is really helpful to be able to spot them more.
yeah. I think the routine and training really helps. I mean, it did take you to point it out to me because, but
Well, that's part of my job, you know?
yeah, well, yeah. But then kind of going, oh, right, okay, this is, yeah, because it's just your body changes,
Yeah.
and it's we're probably our brain is probably the last to find out about what's,
It's like you're so close to it that it's difficult to see where that pattern is without specifically noting it. Whereas I can go, wait a second, this happened at, right, scroll back through our conversations. Right, okay, it happened then. Okay, when did it happen before? Right, scroll back through our conversations. Okay, right, okay, I'm sensing a theme. Um, which you've certainly noticed yourself as well, or like being able to track your cycle. And I think that was a big thing, kind of as you started to use the coils, go, wait a second, what's going on? Like, what does my cycle look? And that was like, again, a relearning
yeah,
process to be able to see kind of there'd already been the relearning going into perimenopause when you kind of knew more or less kind of where your highs and low points were previously because you knew that cycle well. So then going to perimenopause, okay, this week's just really not fun and I'm really not enjoying myself. To then, okay,
yeah,
how can I learn about that? And through kind of Empower Project in our community, we did a lot on understanding hormones, which was helpful, coincided with, okay, I'm going to go and speak to someone about menopause because we were looking at HRT. And it was
yeah,
like, okay, I think this, I agree, this would probably be quite a helpful thing for you to explore. But with the history of fibroids, it was like, I can't say for sure. So you're going to have to speak to someone that's more specialist. And I think that was a really helpful phase in everything to then be able to, that lined up very well with the surgery and all the information that came out with that, to just have every person supporting in every corner for you.
yeah. I think the thing about being well for AO fibroids, but B with increased risk of breast cancer is you get what 7 minutes, 10 minutes with a GP,
Yeah.
and um there's an opinion that women who are at increased risk can't take HRT. So
Mm.
it's kind of like, wait, I feel like I'm going menopause or I'm in perimenopause, but there's this thing that I can't take, and I've got 10 minutes to discuss this with somebody who is not necessarily an expert in this, like they're a general practitioner, but they're not going to be able to give me specifics. So yeah, that was just super helpful because there's always options. There's always things that you can do. There's always, but and they were like, actually, no, we don't really think it's perimenopause. That's the problem. It's your fibroid. So let's fix
Yeah.
this. But we've also got to take account of doing this has implications in other areas. So
Yeah.
I think, you know, I think making the decision to just spend a little bit of money on myself and kind of have the opportunity to talk to somebody for an hour
Yeah.
was who was expert was really 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 good.
Yeah.
I think it was well worth it. Yeah.
Amazing.
So yeah.
So many just adding layers of
Yeah.
knowledge, but knowledge with action and knowledge with kindness. Like
Yeah.
rather than it be, well, I know this thing, so I should know better. I
Yeah.
know this thing, so I should just do more. I know this thing, so it should just be whatever it might be. But actually, okay, I'm learning. I want to understand, I'm investing in myself, but I'm going to go away and I'm going to take that information. I'm going to digest it. I'm going to
Yeah.
process, and then we come up with a plan. I'm going
Yes.
to take those small actions. I'm not going to try and do everything at once or beat myself up because it takes a minute to adjust to those things and just approach all of it with
Yeah. A little
kindness.
bit of kindness. Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
Mhm.
Good. And what would you say to a woman who's listening and thinking, this all sounds amazing, but I'm just not sure if I can do it?
I think you can well, I think you can do everything, but you can take a tiny little step. And I think for me, what's really helpful in starting to work with you first was it was a really small step. It was online, which was great. So, you're not having to leave the house. You're just kind of, it's not a big kind of trip anywhere. And it was everything was a small little step. And I think think that was, I think that would be the thing that I'd say. You could try and kind of explore something that will make you feel a little bit better. Um, and doing something like that's a small step that doesn't feel negative in any way. So that kind of going back to the idea of not being berated for having not lost a pound or skipped a gym session or doing any of that. Like all of the actions and things are, I feel like they're acts of kindness in a way, having sleep, eating good food, learning more about your body, learning about more about your nervous system. Like they're all little small acts of kindness to ourselves in a way. And
Mm,
I think that's the thing that I think we're all a bit deserving of that, really, aren't we? So it's kind of that's what I'd say. I think I've experienced the kind of the going in and weighing myself in front of a group and never want, that's horrible. And the training until your body is really sore, or kind of, you know, eating so little that you're actually just really a hungry mess. So, they don't feel like kind things to me.
yeah,
And I think for me, that's why I would encourage somebody, I think, who's saying, well, I can't do it. It's like, I think you probably can do those kind of things because it's not gonna stress you in that sense. And then I really like the kind of the some of the community aspects of it, and
yeah,
just kind of um talking to other people and kind of realizing actually we're all kind of doing this kind of, I think one of the things that was funny was like when we were talking about in the Power Project, when we were talking about like hormones and stuff, and we'd all been like in school in the 80s, and it was like, or the 90s, I don't know, but it's like we really didn't learn anything, did we? We just
nothing. I remember one person being like, I'm going to take note of everything here so I can tell my niece in case it's still as bad as it was when I was at school.
I know. It's like there's so many things we missed out on, really. Like I
So
was talking to a
much.
friend of mine, we went to secondary school together, and we both really love strength training now. But when we were in secondary school, like there was a time where they used to take us out to a gym and there was toning tables and we would like beat each other to get there so that we could just lie and not move. Whereas now, like I'm like, I wish I'd known how much strength training would have like been such a positive influence in my life when I was younger. So
Yeah,
it's kind of, I think being with a similar a group of people is really nice as well.
yeah,
Even if you don't say anything and you're kind of too stressed at the time to get involved in the conversation. Particularly for me, I think probably at the beginning of this year, like things were really challenging, and sometimes I might go to, if we were having a group conversation, I'd be like, I can't speak, but it was just nice some to just be there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Know that people are around. I think the nice bit about online as well is like you can go show up to the gym and have people around in that space, or you can like choose to go and show up in a place. But often they're having it online and like access to message and things like that, or like through the community is largely message. They're there when you need it.
yeah,
You don't have to show up to a physical space all of the time, but like it's in your pocket. You
yeah,
can send a message when it's like, I just had this thought. You don't need to reply straight away, but I had to just voice the thought and do
yeah,
with it what you will sometimes, but just it's in that accessible place that's real life.
yeah. And I just think we're all really busy, and we've busy jobs and busy lives, and it's kind of like, whereas online, Um, like you say, you can send a message. You don't expect a reply. It's not whatever, but it's just in the ether, and it's a quick way to get in contact with people. Or you can kind of randomly ask a question, say, "Does anyone know this?" Or "I saw this," or "Here's a recipe," that kind of
Yeah,
thing. But yeah,
definitely. And you've kind of started to answer this, but what do you think having support and guidance, how do you think that made such a difference compared to say trying it by yourself?
I think with well, I don't think I had the knowledge. So I think that there's so much out there. Like if you go on social media or anything, like there's so many conflicting messages. So I think it's hard to filter and know what's the not even the correct thing, but what's the kind of the most sensible
Yeah.
thing.
What's relevant, I guess.
What yeah, what's relevant and contextual, um, and accounts for all the different variables that are going on in your life. So yeah, ideally, a 20-year-old might be able to do this, but what does that mean for somebody who's in their late 40s? Or what does that mean for even if you're talking about HRT, for example, like, yeah, that might be a great solution for those people. What does it mean for this person and that kind of thing? So I think the knowledge that you have and the knowledge you impart, that's great. And I think it's also the kind of being in a context where you can try something, it doesn't work particularly, and you can try it again, and you can try different alternatives and be able to um, kind of, I suppose, reflect on what works, what doesn't, rather than actually
Yeah.
saying, well, this is the thing, and if it doesn't work for you, you're not doing it properly. It's like, actually, let's try a few things. Let's kind of, I was going to say twerk, tweak.
We can twerk if you like.
let, let's tweak it. Or actually, yes, in the you've changed. So that worked at this particular point, but now
Yeah.
actually it's not working
As
anymore.
you've grown, that way of doing it doesn't necessarily serve
Yeah.
anymore. Yeah.
Um, and then I think getting the thoughts sometimes out of your head are really important. So probably one of your greatest victories is getting me to journal, but actually being able to kind of like articulate what's actually going on is really
Mm.
important, because
Yeah.
otherwise it's there, but you don't get it out.
Mm.
So I think that's really important.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
I think sometimes being able to talk through things and someone just go, yeah, you're not mental, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, legit, that would be annoying. Like, cool, what are we gonna do anything about it now? Or are we just gonna it's
No.
out and it is what it is and we'll leave it there, but it's
Yeah.
out and it's on the table and that's fine.
Like I have a list of my mental fears of surgery, like, and I shared it with you, and I like they're the crazy things, but I write them down,
Mm,
and then I go and find the evidence to kind of go, actually, that happens to one in 200,000 people, and
yeah.
it's like, actually, it's not crazy. It's yeah,
It's
but
very
it's
understandable.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's better out of my head, and
100%.
so yeah, so I think that's been good. The knowledge, the kind of the ability to kind of try different things. Yeah,
Yeah. And all of our random chats of manicures and vegetables and all sorts.
I know. I mean, I would say that you've created a monster in that I love getting my nails done now, but now that I've increased the protein, I have to increase the number of manicures.
Sorry. And keeping manicurists in business all over the world, you know?
I know. Yeah. It's like looked at them the other day and I was like, oh, I've only had these on 2 weeks.
Yeah,
But
sorry.
yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was one you said quite early. You were like, I bought all of these fancy shampoos and conditioners in my life, and none of them have improved my hair. And then you tell me to eat more protein, and look at it.
I know. It's my hair has grown. Like actually, it's like I used to have short hair and now it's really like it's long, and I like it being longer. And yeah, it's thick, and protein on my nails and everything is, yeah, it's been great.
All
Um,
helps.
yeah.
I have one last question for you.
Okay.
What does being strong mean to you now?
Hmm. What does being strong? I think being strong to me is about knowing yourself really well, um, and being confident. I think, and being confident in yourself as well. That's what being strong means to me.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's very profound or not, but yeah, I just think, having the strength to know yourself, what you like, what you don't like, what you want to do, and having the strength to say no to some things, and but also to say yes to lots of things as well. I
yeah,
think that's what being strong is to me.
I like that.
Also being able to lift some heavy weights. I
Of course.
know.
But cool that it's not the first thing. No.
No, it's not the
It's not
first
just
thing. No.
numbers, it's actually The feeling, the person, the knowledge, the power. It's very
But
cool.
even even the lifting the really heavy weights, it's about confidence as well, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
it's kind of
That
like,
self-trust, I can do this.
yeah. So I think before when I started to like lift heavy, it was about the number, whereas now it's actually walking up to a bar and kind of and actually going, I actually can do this. So
Yeah.
there's, you know, anytime I haven't been able to do something, it's because it's kind of the in the head thing.
Psyched yourself out or taught yourself out of it.
Yeah, I mean having a sequin belt, weightlifting belt off
Oh,
now,
yeah.
it's
Best thing ever. It's such a
I
cool belt.
but yeah,
Amazing.
nothing feels as good as like strapping into the weightlifting belt and kind of going, I'm gonna lift that. And my knees not knocking together. Because my legs are a little bit stronger. But yeah.
Yeah. Now to be able to lift more and better and without pain and with a sequin belt.
Yeah.
And then go
And
home and have a nap and a bagel and just chill.
yeah.
Amazing. Brilliant. That's a very good definition of
Thank,
strength. I
thank you.
like it. Well, thank you so much, Sinead, for joining me today. And I will also link kind of our previous podcast where we talked about many other things in the toilet. Um, so you can jump into that one if you want some extra chat in between the two of us. But yeah, I think so empowering and encouraging to hear your story from, okay, I'm kind of starting to enjoy training, but I've got this background of kind of restriction and overdoing it and kind of I want this to be more fun. I want something to look a bit different. I don't know what that is yet, but okay, well let's start here and see where that goes to then changes in goals, changes to knowledge of your health, improving your health and that giving you the power and the confidence to choose what works best for you, to
Mhm.
be able to put the questions and the fears in the back of the book and then go and process them and come up with answers that calm you and help you to be able to feel your best rather than bottle them up and be terrified.
Mhm.
So yeah, so many really amazing changes mentally, physically, in all areas of life. So really, really proud of the changes that you've made. It's been
Thank you.
amazing to be on this journey with you so far. And
Thank you.
yeah, lots of surgery and changes and rest and presence to come as the next phase of that. So yeah.
Oh, will she rest?
She will. She will. You're good at it now. But if you're listening to this and thinking, I'd love to feel like that, but I just don't know where to start, this is exactly what I help women to do, what I love to help women to do, to help figure out. So you don't have to be by yourself. You can have people to talk to, you can have that chance to process and go from that restriction and overtraining and exhaustion to actually feeling calm and at peace and strong. So if you'd like to find out more, then please do send me an email, amy@empowerfitnessnutrition.co.uk or on Instagram, Amy Gorman __. I have two accounts. It's really confusing. I can't delete one of them. We chatted about this at the start. But please do just shoot me a message and let's talk. That's the first very small step. And yeah, we don't need to be perfect. It's just all about growing and learning about ourselves as we go. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next episode.